I'm Trevor Williams with Global Atlanta. We're here with Guanming Fang, who is a partner in the Corporate and Securities Group at Womble, Carlyle, Sandridge, and Rice, and who also leads the firm's China initiative. Guanming, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You have written a guide to expanding into the U.S. market for Chinese companies. Tell us a little bit about the guide and what was the impetus for this project?
Well, the guide is, we wrote it to help Chinese companies who want to expand into the U.S. market to have some general high-level basic understanding of the environment that they're getting into, the major differences between the two countries, and to help them prepare when they come here. It gives a very high-level discussion of the U.S. history, general description of the business environment, introduction of the legal and political system, and some basic business customs, and also the various ways that companies can expand into the U.S. market. The reason the guide came about was that we were talking to the Georgia State Department of Economic Development before they went to China in June of 2010 to sell the state. Basically, the state was organizing a couple of seminars in China to tell the Chinese companies about Georgia and about investing in the U.S. And we were talking to them about how we, as a private law firm, can help them in this effort. And the one concern or one comment we heard was that the state would like for the Chinese companies who come to the seminars to leave the seminar with something that they would keep long term, so that when the companies do make the decision to expand to the US, they have something that they can look back and read and understand and refresh their memory. So that's why we took on this project to write this book, write this guide, to help the state.
What are some of the principal struggles that, in your experience working with Chinese companies, that they face when, after having made the decision to come to the U.S., actually carrying that out?
Well, it's the unfamiliarity with what's going on in the U.S., how things are done here, who they should call, how do you even register the company. There are a lot of differences between how you do business in the U.S. and in China. So even starting from how you form a company, how you hire people, how do you negotiate contracts with potential suppliers or customers, all these things are unfamiliar to them, even though they know from a business perspective who they want to target, what kind of products they want to sell, and what kind of services they want to sell. And even what prices to charge, but how to go about doing that is the challenge.
We've had a few Chinese companies announce investments here, and some have come to fruition, some haven't. How has the ability and the aggressiveness and willingness of Chinese companies to invest in the U.S. changed over the past few years?
Over the past few years, I'm still seeing a lot of companies coming from China. The economic downturn in the last couple of years did not slow down that momentum from what I can see. A lot of Chinese companies saw what was happening in the U.S. market as an opportunity. It made it a lot easier to enter the U.S. market. A lot of commercial real property became available at very affordable prices. Residential real estate was very attractive to Chinese investors, and just even the market in general. So there was still a lot of interest going on. And also on the outbound side as well, a lot of companies in the last couple of years, when they were looking internally for ways to save costs, to reduce costs and save money, they looked at some emerging markets, including China, as a way to explore anyway, to reduce costs.
Guanming, what should we expect from the Chinese investment landscape in the U.S. to look like in the next 5 to 10 years?
I expect that they will continue to come. Chinese companies are becoming more and more sophisticated, and so I expect a lot more bigger and more sophisticated companies to come, and I also expect them to come in a variety of ways. I'm seeing a lot of interest in making an equity investment in U.S. companies. I'm seeing an increased interest in buying existing U.S. companies. So coming to the U.S. to set up a sales office to market your product will not be the only way to enter the U.S. market, as it has been predominantly in the last few years.
How can states and local economic development organizations prepare themselves for interest from Chinese companies?
The Georgia Economic Development and the local chambers of commerce are doing a good job. I think they're doing a much better job than they did a few years ago. So being proactive, being aggressive to go out and talk about the state and talk about the region will be very helpful. They should continue to do that. They should continue to reach out to private sectors, companies that do business with Chinese entities and solicit their help. They need to collaborate a lot more among themselves and with the private sector, and send a strong message to Chinese companies that they are welcome and that they will do whatever we can to welcome them, and be patient, be aggressive.